From the main screen, tap Calibration Setup. Under Device Under Test, tap Select. Tap Add Device Under Test. If there are already devices under test, tap the plus sign button to add a new device under test. Enter a name and a serial number for your device under test. Set the stabilization time of the device under test if necessary. Select the appropriate type for your device under test from the list. Resistance thermometers, thermocouples, DUTs with current and voltage signals and temperature switches are available. If there is no suitable type in the list, select Unspecified DUT. For resistance thermometers and thermocouples, select the appropriate tolerance class from the list. Enter the lower and upper temperature values for devices under test with current and voltage signals, or the expected switching point for temperature switches. Select from the list whether the DUT temperature should be recorded manually or automatically. You can make changes before adding the device under test. To do this, tap one of the fields and make your changes. When all the information is correct, tap Add DUT. Your device under test has been successfully added. From the main screen, tap Calibration Setup. Under Device Under Test, tap Select. Select the device under test that you want to edit from the list. Tap Edit. Depending on the type of DUT, you can edit different properties. To change a property, tap the appropriate field and make the changes. When you are finished making changes, tap Save. Your device under test has been successfully updated. From the main screen, tap Calibration Setup. Under Test Task, tap Select. Tap Add Test Task. If there are already test tasks, tap the plus sign button to add a new test task. Enter a name for the test task. You can also change the behavior of the test task. A standard test task contains test points, devices under test, and the calibration function. If you want to change the standard test task after it has been run, you will be asked if you want to copy or overwrite the task. A permanent task also contains test points, DUTs, and the calibration function, and is used as a template. Before calibration, you will be prompted to enter a name and serial number for each device under test. select the calibration function. You can add one or more devices under test to the test task. Select the device under test and tap Add to task. To add a new device under test, tap the button with the plus sign. When you have added all the devices under test to the task, tap Next. Tap Add Test Point. Enter the test point. You can add more test points, edit or delete existing test points, or change the order of the test points. Select the behavior of the temperature calibrator at the end of the calibration. Tap Add Test Task. Your test task has been successfully added. From the main screen, tap Calibration Setup. Under Test Task, tap Select. Select the test task that you want to edit. Then tap Edit. You can change the task name, the test points, the behavior at the end of the calibration, the DUTs and the calibration function. To change the task name, tap Select under Task Name. Enter the new name of the task. To change the test points and the behavior at the end of the calibration, tap Select under Test Points. Add a new test point by tapping on the plus sign. To edit a test point, select it and tap Edit. Test points can be moved up and down simply by tapping the arrowheads. The Behavior at the End button can be used to define the behavior of the temperature calibrator at the end of the calibration. You can choose between the safe temperature range, the first test point, the last test point, and temperature control off. Select the required option and confirm. To delete a test point, select it and tap Delete. When you have made all the changes to the test points and the behavior at the end, tap Save. To add or remove devices under test from the task, tap Select under Device under Test. Devices under test that have been added to the task are marked with an icon and a note. To add a device under test, select it in the list and tap Add to Task. To remove a device under test, select it in the list and tap Remove from Task. Exit the window using the back arrow. To change the calibration function of the task, tap Select under Calibration function. Select the required calibration function and tap Select. From the main screen, tap Calibration Setup. Under Calibration function, tap Select. Select the calibration function you want to edit. If the function is write protected at the factory, tap Copy first. The copied function can then be edited. Write protected functions can only be edited by service personnel. Tap the property that you want to edit. For example, you can enter adjustment values for the calibration function. Enter at least 2 pairs of values. When you have made all your changes, tap Save. The calibration function has been successfully updated. From the main screen, tap Calibration without certificate. The current calibration function is displayed in the bottom bar. If you want to use a different function, tap Select Calibration function. Tap Enter Test Point. Enter the test point. You can also quickly change the test point using plus and minus. Tap Start to start the calibration. The test point is approached and held. Tap the live graph icon to see the real-time temperature reading from the reference sensor. Tap Stop to end the calibration. If your temperature calibrator is equipped with an integrated measuring instrument, you can configure it using the button. Tap Setup Step Test. Enter the test points for the step test. You can also set the hold time for each test point. The Behavior at the End button can be used to define the behavior of the temperature calibrator at the end of the calibration. Tap Start to begin the step test. The test points are automatically approached and held for the selected time. Depending on the selected behavior at the end of the calibration, the temperature calibrator will enter the safe temperature range, for example. From the main screen, tap Calibration with Certificate. Select a test task from the list. Before you start the calibration, you can edit the name, the calibration function, the test points, and the devices under test. If you have already performed the test task, an exclamation mark appears next to the pen. For example, if you want to edit the test points, you will be asked whether you want to create a copy of the test task or overwrite it. Select one of the two options. Edit the test points and save your changes. Swipe the slider to the right to start the calibration. Swipe the status display to the left for more information on the current calibration. If you have selected manual input for data entry, an input box for the DUT value will appear. Enter the value here. You can view the data recorded for the test point after the first test point has been recorded. Once the calibration is complete, the temperature calibrator will indicate whether the devices under test are within the tolerance class. The test certificate can be viewed and exported by selecting View Calibration Results from the main screen. From the main screen, tap View Calibration Results. Select a calibration from the list. By default, only completed calibrations are displayed. To view all calibrations, select All Calibration Results. You can export the certificate if a USB storage device is inserted. Tap View Results. Tap on a test point to obtain detailed information. This allows you to see at a glance whether the test point is within the permitted deviation. Tap View Certificate to display a preview of the certificate. When a USB storage device is inserted into the temperature calibrator, calibration results can be exported as a CSV or PDF file. From the main screen, tap User Settings. Here you can change various settings for the current user. Tap First Name or Last Name to make changes. Tap Language to select from the available user interface languages. Tap the temperature unit to choose between degrees Celsius, degrees Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Tap Sound to turn the notification sounds on or off. Tap Decimal Places to set the decimal places for the measured temperature. Tap Change User to add, change or delete a user. Tap the plus sign button to add a new user. Enter the first and last name. Tap Add User. To delete a user, select an inactive user. Then tap Delete. Select the user you want to use. Then tap Select. Tap Start Screen Selection to switch between the Expert View and the Simplified View. The Expert View contains all menu items from the main screen. The Simplified View contains only the menu items Calibration without certificate, Remote Control, and User Settings. Save your changes. Tap the Home icon to exit the user settings. Tap Select under User Settings to return to the Expert View. Tap Start Screen Selection and then tap Save. From the main screen, tap Settings. Here you can configure the temperature calibrator. Tap Date to set the date and time. You can set the time and date manually or have them set automatically. To set the time manually, make your changes and save them. If the calibrator is connected to the internet, the time and date can be retrieved automatically. Activate the checkbox. The time zone can be selected from the list or using the filter function. Save the time and date. Tap IP address to set the network settings. The DHCP setting type automatically configures the network settings when the calibrator is connected to the network. Select the static setting type if you want to set the IP address, subnet mask and gateway manually. Save the static IP by tapping Set IP. Tap OPC mode to activate the interface. Tap Certificate Template to choose between the default template and a custom template. The default template contains the standard logo and layout. The custom template allows you to use your own logo and rearrange the fields and entries. If a USB storage device is inserted into the temperature calibrator, the custom template can be exported. The custom template can then be imported. Tap Custom Template and then tap Select to apply this template to the certificates. Tap Serial Communication to set the speed, carriage return and line feed. Tap DUT Averaging Time to set the time for averaging the device under test. Tap Restore Previous Backup to restore a backup stored on the temperature calibrator. You can export a backup of the temperature calibrator to a connected USB storage device, or import it from a USB storage device. Tap Export Backup to export the backup. Tap Import Backup to import the backup from the USB storage device. From the main screen, tap Remote Control. Here you can enable remote control of the temperature calibrator. On the right, you can see which interface is currently active. Tap Activate Remote Control to enable access to the temperature calibrator. Tap Select Calibration function to select the calibration function. If your temperature calibrator is equipped with an integrated measuring instrument, you can configure it using the button. If you have started a calibration, for example via the web application of the temperature calibrator, you will see an overview of the events.